All right, let's start with an image. And the original image can be either a digital file from a digital camera or a film that has been scanned and converted digitally. So here we go. As I said earlier, if we were just to take this image and just adjustment and invert and try to print this out and make a digital negative from this, to print it in any of the processes could be too contrasting. So we have to adjust this. What I like to do is I like to, even before I apply any curve, I'll just go back. File. Image adjustment, invert. Image adjustment, I like to do a little auto levels. Auto. So image adjustment, levels, auto. Now we're getting ready to apply curves. So image adjustment curves. It will bring up this window here. And this is what I was saying earlier about the input and output. Starting from, this is 0% black ink. It's 100% black ink. So within here is your grayscale. So how do you create a curve? How do you create points? Well, you just simply click on this line here, and it automatically creates a point. So now, including this one here, this is 1 point, this is 2 point, this is 3, so we need 5 more. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 1 more.
Wait, how do you know how many points to have?
I just took 100 divided by... Oh, well, how many points?
Yeah.
It depends on the number of steps that prints on a particular paper with a given process.
That was the purpose that you used with the step tablet?
Yeah. So those prints where I actually counted the visible tones, that's where I came up with that number.
Okay.
For gum, I just know that it can only do about 8. Other processes can do more or less, depending on the paper and the process. So that's how I came up with the number 8. It wasn't really a random, it's just from experience printing with this process. I just know that if I build in more tones, it can't print it. So what this will allow you to do is tailor the negative to the process and the paper. I mean, it's like tailor negative. And before we're doing it with film and developing an exposure, this is much more accurate and consistent until you repeat this. So now we have 8 steps. So let's go back to here. Now, all right. I even actually kept the numbers the same because it's easier for me. So let's say step 2, which is 0 as the input. And here you have, I'm going to click on that point. Starting with the first one, which is step 2, input 0, output 21.
Is this the new curve?
This is the new curve. That is the new curve. Step 2. Input 16. Output 49. Step 3. Input 30. Output 63. step 4, input 30. Oh, wait, I'm sorry, step 5. Input 44. Output 70. Step 6, input 58. Output 76. Step 7. 72 as the input. Output 80. Step 8. Here. Input 86. Output 83. And finally, last step, 100% becomes 85%. That's a beautiful curve. Look at that.
So you always follow the chart on the right?
I always, what remains the same is the input, those 8 points. And that's just it, 8 even points from 0 to 100. What changes is the output. So let me talk about what this is. And you can see the actual negative without the curve applied and with. Without. So what you're looking at here, this point on the bottom end of the curve is what's known as your toe. And that represents the shadows in your given negative, which will also represent the clear areas or the light areas of the image. The upper portion is what's known as your shoulder, which also represents the highlights in your print, the dark areas of the negative. So if you want to adjust the contrast, you do so by moving the point up or down. But in doing so, you would also, if you do that, watch what happens to the highlights. Keep in mind when you do that, you're going to want to change these values as well. You control the highlights with these points, the shadows with the lower points. The points in the middle are your mid-range, your middle values. And even a 1 point percentage change is drastic. And I learned that, I knew that, and I had to relearn that over the break when I was making some cuts that I showed you where I was changing these points way more than I needed to, when it should have been just 1 or 2 points. I was dropping this way the hell down here. Like down, 16. And it was just, it was too much. 0 to, what did I say? 21. Yeah, the print I showed you is a 0 to 21. Although, it can go down as far as 19 or so. Probably below that. Now, once you have the curve already set, you can go to this little box in here, which doesn't look like much of anything. Click Save Preset, which I should have done. I'll call it 20. And I'll save it to the desktop. And so what that means is that there it is.